200 Marines into the hurricane disaster relief effort in Central America. Helicopters from the Navy's new carrier Ocean are already taking Marines with food, water and their medical skills to communities cut off for a fortnight now. Our correspondent James Mates joined the relief force at Puerto Cabo and flew 50 miles inland with them along the border between Nicaragua and Honduras.
It is not what the Navy had expected in the Caribbean to put their latest warship, HMS Ocean, through her paces. They've now found themselves coordinating the biggest disaster relief operation ever attempted by the British military. Ocean is a specially designed helicopter carrier. The 8 that she had in her cavernous hangars were exactly what was needed to get aid to the remotest regions of Nicaragua and Honduras. Along with more than 400 Royal Marines, they had no hesitation in committing all of them to the relief effort.
It's like running an aid operation in Derbyshire from the North Sea. So we've been able to carry this aid deep inland to the areas where it is most needed.
Food and fresh water can only be trucked so far in these conditions, but the Navy's Sea Kings can take it direct to the most remote villages, to areas completely cut off since the storm. Villages don't get more remote than this. Had it not been for the chance presence of the Marines in this area, the only certainty is that these people would have had no help at all. Instead, the people of the tiny hamlet of Mahogany will have food and water to last them until road traffic can get through again. Outside one of the few buildings left undamaged by the floodwaters, they queue to be seen by the 4-man medical team from the Royal Marines. Children especially have been vulnerable to the diseases that follow disasters such as these, the infections, the dysentery that come from the filth and the lack of clean water. Marine engineers are digging new toilets to help prevent disease before it spreads, slowly working their way from village to village. They believe they are making a difference. What would the condition of the people have been had you not been here?
I think the condition would have been very serious. They were short of food. More importantly, their water was in an appalling condition, and I think it wouldn't have been long before dysentery and cholera would have broken out amongst them.
After a natural disaster on this scale, they can inevitably do only a fraction of what is needed. But the Navy is determined to stay here for as long as they can still help. James Mates, News at 10, Nicaragua.
The Victoria and Albert Museum in London checked and rechecked today and then confirmed that it's lost 2 of its Constable paintings worth over £750,000. It says they were stolen. Staff last saw them 2.5 months ago. Joe Andrews reports. The Victoria and Albert Museum is one of the great art storehouses of Europe. Behind these doors, over 1 million paintings and prints are kept. Although they aren't on display, any member of the public can ask to see them. And that is how the museum discovered last week that 2 of its Constable paintings were missing. They were last seen in August. One is an oil sketch of Bally Farm in Suffolk, the other of Dedham Mill in Essex, which he used as a preliminary work for one of his most famous finished paintings.
There are always opportunities arise in a place like this, and one of the problems with a museum is that we are here with all our objects for the public. They have to be accessible to the object, to the public, and there must be a balance between security and accessibility.
The 2 paintings were part of a gift of Constable's oil sketches given to the museum by his daughter Isabel. Experts believe that, like many other stolen pieces of art, the paintings may have been taken abroad.
And so they could move into the art circles in other countries in the continent, Switzerland or elsewhere. And at some stage, a dealer, we hope, or an auction house or museum will ring up and check on the provenance of the painting they want to buy.
The museum had intended to take these 2 oil sketches out of store in the new year and put them on display here. But unless they can be found now, they may never be seen by the public again. Joe Andrews, News at 10 at the Victoria and Albert Museum. After a 3-year inquiry, it was confirmed today that many children, some less than 2 years old, were sexually abused at a council-run nursery earlier this decade. The report criticised Newcastle City Council's child protection procedures and the way it responded to the allegations. Parents of the abused children plan to sue the council. The Health Secretary Frank Dobson told MPs today there was a possibility that some pregnant women could be at risk of contracting the human form of mad cow disease. He said supplies of a drug used to prevent birth defects wouldn't be available from abroad for a few months yet. And the Duke of Edinburgh complained about uncomfortable airport terminals today.